Hi, I'm Karen. Hi, I'm Karen, also known as the Preacherlady. Today, our discussion is a Battlestar Galactica devotion. So say we all. When I was in middle school, I was obsessed with Battlestar Galactica. When my friends and I would have slumber parties, we would dye mashed potatoes green and call them mushies. In eighth grade art, when we did metal casting, I made captain's clusters, and one of my oil paintings was a viper. I thought all the religious symbolism in Battlestar Galactica was cool. The 12 tribes paralleled the 12 tribes of Israel, and their quest was a challenge of faith. And I greatly enjoyed the reboot as well, even though it couldn't hold a candle to my childhood fixation and memories. They also dealt with deeply religious issues. It was Adama's faith that led them through the dark toward what they hoped would be their new home. It was like Moses leading the Israelites through the wilderness to the promised land. The Bible is full of stories of God's people trusting that God will get them out of the trouble that they've gotten themselves into. In neither version of this series did they get what they wanted in the end. The original ended with Battlestar Galactica 1980, which in and of itself was horrible. But when they got to Earth, they discovered we were not advanced enough to help them. It was even worse in the reboot. When they got to Earth, they discovered we had destroyed ourselves, and they found only a dead world left behind. So what does that say about faith and hope? In the end of the second series, the series ended with a discussion between Number 6 and Baltar. Number 6 begins, commercialism, decadence, technology run amok. Remind you of anything? And Baltar then reflects on humanity always bringing about their own doom, back in the colonies and even here on Earth. And they debate whether it could be different this time. Can humanity start over without destroying itself? Oddly enough, it's Number 6, the Cylon, who believes that it can. And I don't know whether or not that is because the Cylons actually had a deeper faith at that point in the series, or because she believed in infinite possibilities. But it makes you think. Human society always does seem bent on self-destruction. All you have to do is watch the news. So where do we find faith to get past our own destructive natures? How do we find hope that it can come out differently this time? As a Christian and a good Calvinist, I believe in total depravity. We are all sinful. We have all sinned and fallen short of the glory of God. In Romans 7:19, Paul puts it this way, "For I do not do the good I want, but the evil I do not want is what I do." On our own, we would probably wind up completely destroying the earth. We aren't all that far from doing that today. Our hope comes in the fact that we are not on our own. Paul goes on to explain that it is Jesus that sets us free from our sins and from death. It's only in giving our lives to Jesus and following him that we start overcoming our sinful nature. Our trust in Jesus allows us to choose to do good. Following Jesus reminds us to look out for our neighbors, to treat others as we want to be treated. In my years as a youth pastor, the youth were always begging me to do Bible studies on the book of Revelation. It was as close to horror as you can get in the Bible. It was creepy and weird and more than a little scary. But those who look at the prophecies in the book of Revelation and see doom and despair don't understand that book. It was written as a letter of hope to a crushed and downtrodden people. Like the scriptures that Adama followed and trusted to lead the ragtag fugitive fleet to Earth, the book of Revelation gives hope that sinful humanity isn't going to get the last word. Yes, human nature is going to be bent on destroying creation up until the end. But this isn't our creation. This is God's creation. And Jesus will come back and rescue it from the inept hands it was left in. The scary predictions, the condemnations in Revelation aren't for the people who trust God. It is a word of justice for those who've been stepped on, for those who've been persecuted and forgotten and pushed aside. When you watch the news and see horrible evil going on, those are our metaphorical monsters. When Christ returns, he will be battling racism and sexism and violence and injustice. The things that are destroying our world and destroying our humanity will be stopped. That is good news. The kingdom is coming, and someday everything will be put back the way God intended it to be. Now, that doesn't mean we should just sit back and wait. Jesus also proclaimed that the kingdom of heaven is at hand. As people of faith, we are supposed to do our best to bring about the kingdom here and now. We are called to seek justice, to love kindness, and to walk humbly with our God. As Paul said, no matter how much we want to, we are going to fail sometimes. Sometimes we won't achieve evil, or sometimes we won't achieve good. We wind up achieving evil. See? Case in point. I didn't say what I meant to say. But with Christ's help, we can do our best day to day. With confidence, we know that justice will not completely depend on our success. Justice, goodness, and peace are the end that Jesus will bring. We just need to keep our eyes on our heavenly goal and keep striving to do the good we want to do and not the evil that we're prone to do. So say we all.